I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. Today, I have come up with an interesting topic that that is something that really interests you, especially the students who are preparing for campus placement, different placements, and who are going to start their career as a new or novice engineering graduates or engineering software engineers, like, or engineering buds, somebody who really want to start their career with great hopes, and in different companies. So for them, that this is very useful, and this particular session will be helpful in case if you're a person who wants to achieve work balance or professional balance by managing both your professional endeavors at the same time your behavior aspects. So let's start our session by understanding the title: Emotional Intelligence Paves the Way to, or particular success, or paves a way, or the way you really desire to professional balance. So emotional intelligence paves the way to professional balance. So you're with Sudeepthi Dondapati. Let's start the session. Now, all throughout the early history, right? In our history, so much of research has been done, and it was so much of history and research, past history, and all their records, talk about this cognitive skills. In the past, we might have seen that the importance of kind of intelligence. What is this intelligence? Is it to do with education, or is it to do with your behavior, or is it to do with whatever aspects you have professional? So that kind of behavioral kind of intelligence, or is to do with the mind, or is it to do with your behavior, or is it to do with your work performance, whatever it is. So it's time for you to think and understand the kind of updates, or the kind of knowledge, or that kind of awareness you should have, being novice employees. So this is to do with some kind of intelligence. And what is this intelligence, and what it is really related with, and how is that you're going to explore it further? We shall see that in further slides. So by understanding drawing it and gathering different sources, we understand that this intelligence is to do with your emotions. So till now, you might have heard about various forms of intelligences, like various forms of intelligence, like educational or academic intelligence or professional intelligence. Look, have you heard anything about this emotional intelligence? Yes. If you haven't heard of this, like, this is a time for you to learn and understand and reflect on that. And this is a very key aspect, and this is definitely a key to your success. Why? Because this intelligence is to do with your emotions. So you cannot do away with this thinking that it is nothing to do with your work, or it's nothing to do with your work subject, or anything like that. No, you cannot really think about it. Instead, you have to wait and see what is this really about. Emotional intelligence is an upcoming and ongoing and updated and newly fashioned, introduced, encouraged, and taught, implemented topic in the present times. So drawing from different sources, we can say that the simple definition of emotional intelligence, or otherwise called as emotional quotient, emotional, or EQ in a short form, is all about an ability to monitor, the kind of efficiency, or the power to monitor, to safeguard your own emotions, the ability to monitor your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. So it is not only to do with your own emotions, but also it is to do with managing other emotions. Why? You will understand it very clear as I tell you as we see or look at different kind of like different slides and different aspects or different thoughts in latter sessions, right? So it can also be called as emotional quotient or EQ, right? No, so it is to do with your monitoring ability or attitude or ability to monitor your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. Right. So, what is this? It is what we use when we empathize with our coworkers, have deep conversations about a relationship with others. So, let me put this definition in a nutshell. Emotional intelligence is, possessing the required intelligence in ruling our emotions. So, emotional intelligence. So, knowing about our emotions, controlling our emotions, managing our emotions, trying to training up our emotions, projecting our emotions, performing our or showing or displaying our emotions. So, this is in one word to say it is like safeguarding, managing our emotions in a balanced way. That is the wisdom you require, the intelligence you require for training up your emotions is called emotional intelligence. It is so easy as you understand. So it is what we use when we empathize with our co-workers. So right, most often, like we see very often, we see right, it is to do with our own emotions, our own self-pity, our own selfishness, our own self-gain. I have to do it. I have to achieve good names. I have to win the toss. I have to gain a lot of an amount or rewards. We definitely neglect others. See, I is more, at the center here, and we ignore others, and how we have to. So we ignore empathizing with our others. What is this empathizing, or what is this empathy for others? Empathy is like just put you place your feet, or place your legs in somebody's shoes. It's like just to keep yourself in other situations. You look problems or you look situations through their lens, through their eyes, how they must be feeling about it. And you are self-sufficient when you are over-sufficient maybe, and somebody, they are not even self-sufficient, and how is that really that is going to be for them? You look the life through their perspective. In your workplace also, when you work, when you start your career, many times maybe you will be a manager, maybe you will be a leader, where many followers or many employees are under your supervision. So when they bring problems to you, are you empathizing with them, or do you really empathize with them? Yes, you have to empathize. You have to be, understand their agony or pain. Sometimes in the companies or wherever you work, you will have to go through different hurts and pains, insults. So hardships, several hardships, you might have to really face. So at that point, you have to wait and understand your, employee's condition, understand from his perspective, and then try to provide a solution if definitely you have this ability and power to deal with. So this kind of that is like emotional intelligence, is something that that allows us to connect with others, understand ourselves better, and live in a very peaceful, authentic, healthy life. It allows us to connect with others. It allows us to understand others. It allows us to work with them. It allows us to sit with them and see their work. We can monitor their work. We can safeguard their rights also sometimes, their lives also sometimes, if we have this kind of emotional intelligence. It is just to do with your the kind of like having a proper mindset to rule and safeguard this kind of intelligence. In others problems, you have to safeguard others problems. You have to know how to deal with others problems. So, and in a way, what it will do, it will help you deal with others problems with others, or with problems of others, or it's like, and it also will help you build your own character and lifestyle. It will help you build up your own work performance. Sometimes when you understand, you have to manage your emotions, and that will really help you attain work level satisfaction. So let me give you an example. For example, how you approach any problem or challenge that comes before you. So what do you do? For example, and all of a sudden you will have to manage a project. All of a sudden you have to ask your employees to get some work done for you, or all of a sudden you have to work extra time hours, so in order to get success. So at that point, what you do is, you are going to understand their problems there. So at that time, what you have to do is, you have to have this kind of unique, balanced, properly managed emotions. You cannot simply show off, or you cannot simply show out your wild passions, or wild emotions, wild unruly behavior, right? You have to have a proper way to guard your emotions. So you have to control them, you have to supervise over your emotions, and you cannot behave as you like. And sometimes it must be very stressful for you, but then knowing how to control your emotions, knowing how to balance your emotions will definitely help you attain your success, so that will help you maintain a healthy lifestyle and happy lifestyle. So in a way, that is more helpful, so and you can lead a successful and happy life. So EQ versus IQ. What is this EQ versus emotional quotient or emotional intelligence versus IQ? Like, what is this, like intelligence quotient? So it is to do with your intelligence, and it is to do with your emotions. So EQ is all about identifying emotions in ourselves. EQ is all about identifying, knowing your emotions, knowing your interests, knowing your passions, understanding your emotions, in trying to know about your own passions and others, relating to others and communicating our feelings, right? It is all like how we behave with them, how we kind of perform work task along with others, how we respond to them, how we talk to them, how we sit and do it for them, right? So that is to do. And the other thing is like IQ on the other hand. IQ on the other hand is about cognitive intelligence, is to do with your mindset, is to do with your cognitive intelligence. So it is all like knowing how you can really understand general intelligence. So EQ is emotional quotient, whereas IQ is our intelligence quotient. So that's like knowing what to do is something. It is something that's in your parameters, and it is something in your knowledge, and how to do is more important there. And knowing what is it, what is that you have to really do is okay, good, but also you should know how to behave it. Now, how to behave in a proper way. So, how you communicate your feelings, how you pass on the message to others, how you agree with them, how you disagree with them. Yes, certainly there are times where you may not agree with others. So, at times you have to disagree with them. So, how is that in that condition? How is that you are agreeing with them? How is that you say yes to them? How is that you say no to them? How you say kind of like your problems that you are not comfortable with them. So how you communicate with others. And for example, if you are assigning work tasks, how are you assigning work tasks? Are you really providing them with resources? Are you really providing them the facilities that they really have? So that is all important. It is also the type that is most often measured. That is, it is also the type that is most often measured through testing and estimating through different grades. So what is it? It is most often what emotional is it emotional intelligence or IQ intelligence quotient is mostly measured through testing and estimated through grades, different grades. But whereas emotional intelligence is to do with your your responses, right? Now let us look at different intelligence. Now we discussed about this emotional intelligence. Let's for some time discuss this social intelligence. Like we saw, right? We discussed emotional intelligence some time back, and now we will discuss social intelligence and social intelligence versus emotional intelligence. So what is the social intelligence and how is that it goes against this emotional intelligence, or will it go in par with emotional intelligence? SI, social intelligence, is more associated with emotional intelligence. It is more associated with emotional intelligence. Why? Because emotional intelligence is to do with your, again, circumstances, whereas social intelligence is also to do with the social context, is also to do with the situations around, or is also to do with the kind of work context, different work context, or different situations that you really have. So that is why that is what it is more related to emotional intelligence, right? And see, that is more related to emotional intelligence, that IQ, for example, like as they both have this social intelligence and this emotional intelligence is to do with emotions. So this emotional intelligence in psychology, for example, in psychology we have different aspects, right? We think about different problems, psychological problems. So what is the role of this emotional intelligence in psychology? Emotional intelligence in psychology fill the gap in psychology. Why? There are some gaps, some lack is there in psychology, and in identifying some problems. So when emotional intelligence is identified as one particular way of behavior, and how you can really manage your emotions, and this will in a way answer several questions raised by different psychologists. So when you work in companies, what I want you to do is like be aware of your emotional intelligence. My dear students or my dear friends who are getting ready for your placements, you have to make sure you are aware of, or you are very sensitive of your emotional intelligence quotients. Now let's discuss some components and elements of emotional intelligence, right? So now, according to Daniel Goleman, there are some components of emotional intelligence. So what are they? So self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills, right? So before we go to these four dimensions of emotional intelligence, let us see why this Daniel Goleman proposed several components of emotional intelligence, and what are its what are its roles, like what do they play and how do they really exist in emotional intelligence or as part of emotional intelligence. So self-awareness, what is the self-awareness? Being aware of your own self emotions, being aware of your attitude, being aware of your moods, being aware of your mindset, being aware of your weaknesses, being aware of your strengths, being aware of your capabilities, being aware of your power and responsibility, being aware of your work responsibility, being aware of your work, kind of like a key roles and responsibilities. So being aware of all these things, you will be definitely a person of good self-awareness. Why? You know how to balance that. you know how to execute them, you know how to use them, you know how to produce them, you know how to show them, how to benefit from them, how to implement them, how to use them, how to develop them, and how to show off them. So in a right way. So self-awareness is very important. If you do not have this self-awareness, you do not know how much capable you are. Maybe you're a good expert in performing good technology, and if you are not self-aware of that, definitely what you do, you simply think that you are not capable of that. And many a time what we do in our workplaces, though we can perform several work assigned tasks, we do not really know or acknowledge our work capabilities, and as a result we lose a good responsibility of handling them. So maybe you are a person of great caliber, but not being aware of how much you can do, how much you can really perform, will definitely be one drawback. So that is one thing. Second thing is self-regulation. Self-regulation is also very important. You know, you have to self-regulate. You have to monitor. You have to know how to we have to understand what is that is very important. How you have to self-regulate completely, not at intervals, every time, on and on. It's an ongoing assessment, one form of assessment. You have to self-regulate yourself to do particular tasks, to attend some task, to to accomplish some particular task. So if you can really be aware of that, definitely you can be in your control. And it's like to be able to have this kind of balance will definitely lead to professional balance. So in the title we said it will lead to, or it paves the way to, professional balance. So in our work places, sometimes we are unable to balance our work. It's just because we are not aware of all these things. We do not know how to balance them. Even though some stressful situations occur, we should know how to handle them, and how to balance them, and how to execute them. So that is why execution is more important. And the first thing is self-awareness, and the second thing is self-regulation, and the third one is motivation. So if you have this motivation, definitely you can self-monitor, motivate. It's like this kind of motivation will help you perform any sort of issues. And if you are not a person somebody who is self-motivated, sometimes you may slip into discouragement, and as a result you cannot adhere to work challenges or work assigned tasks. So you have to motivate, and several times we may get, or you may get demotivated because of the kind of challenges that they come in your life. But it is not impossible when you motivate yourself to take up the challenges and continue. So as a novice employees, if you are students, my dear students, if you're going to start your career in your companies, you have to make sure that you have to be aware of your capabilities. You have to be aware of your power. If you have to be aware of your roles. If you have to be aware of your work ethics, and you can definitely win and achieve. So the second thing is you have to self-regulate. You have to regulate your kind of mind. You have to regulate your body. You have to regulate your behavior. And also you have to motivate yourself to perform and execute, to perform and do certain kind of work achievement or work performance. So that's more important. And next, empathy. Empathy is also very important. Being empathetic towards others, being selfish person is not always good. And being empathetic is important, so that you will understand, you will see others' problems from your perspective, from your end. You will see how you can really how you can really handle them. So empathy or being empathetic is very important. When you understand problems from their lens or from their perspective, definitely you know how to do your work, and you have to share their problems also. You should not be selfish, and you have to be, for example, if somebody asks you that, says that she or he has a problem, and if you can provide a solution, provide. Or if you are not in a position to provide a solution, you can still listen to them. You can still be a good listener. You can still be an empathetic listener. So that will sometimes ease their problems, and they can come and share their, kind of like behave, good love, and you can build up some good bonds of, that kind of network, can be built up in case you are a person with this sort of behavior, right? So that is more important. So that is one thing you have to be careful about. Next, social skills. Social skills, that is also very important. What are the social skills? So your social skill is all about your social behavior in society, or in even in your workplace, your behavior, your social skills, how you are managing your relationships. Do you have proper context? Do you have proper ethics? Do you have proper values? Do you have proper how to balance your life, how to pull your life, against different odds and challenges of your life. I have to be mindful of all that, right? Next, what are some four dimensions of emotional intelligence? So these four dimensions of emotional intelligence are perceiving emotions, using emotions to facilitate thoughts, understanding emotions, and managing emotions. So perceiving emotions, using emotions, understanding and managing. Right. So so the perceiving is like you understand, you are aware of your emotions, you understand of your emotions, you understand your own emotions, and then work on those problems. Then using emotions to facilitate. For example, if you are deeply demotivated and if you're completely dissatisfied, you're completely discouraged, then you won't be able to think properly. You won't be able to take a good decision. So you have to use your emotions to facilitate your thoughts. Next, understanding your emotions. So you have to understand if you have this kind of feeling towards the other person, what it might bear in future, what result it might have in your be produced in your future, or what kind of effect you might have it in your future. So understanding emotions, and then managing emotions is also very important. You have to manage them. How to do it? You have to guard your emotions and use them in a proper way. Now, let me tell you some tips or some key skills. Discuss key skills in the EI, emotional intelligence framework. So number one is self-awareness. Number two is self-regulation. Number three is conscientiousness. Okay, conscientiousness, adaptability, innovativeness, self-motivation, right? Empathy again, social skills, leaderships. So let's discuss all these things briefly. Number one, what are some key skills that you need to focus in the emotional intelligence framework? So there's a framework behind, and you should know how to really deal with them. Number one, being self-aware. So being a person of of self, knowing about your own self. Having the self-awareness is all to do is to do with emotional awareness. You know your emotions, how to rule them, how to, if they might rule you or they might ruin you, so you should guard them. Next, accurate assessment, right? And then confidence, whether you are confident enough or not, right? And then second thing is self-regulation. Self-regulation is like trustworthiness. Trustworthiness is another dominant quality. Whether you are whether you have certain ethics to be trusted, and that kind of when you are assigned, or when you've been assigned any work, and are you able to do that? Are you able to execute that with proper, when somebody trusts you? Okay, and are you faithful kind of again work ethical issues. And also the consciousness, you have to have this kind of consciousness of what you're doing and how you are behaving. Okay, and also adaptability, you being able to adjust yourself to any particular place. So this kind of adaptability is also important. And next, like being innovative innovate this kind of creativity, and to be able to innovate some new some new kind of task, to then and there instantaneously. Sometimes no time is given for you, though you have to be you have to innovate all that. So that is also very important. So consciousness is important, adaptability is important, innovativeness is important. Next, self motivation is more important. Self motivation is more important. So when you are not self motivated, how is that you are going to be, right? Right. How is that you are going to kind of like behave with others? And if you are not self motivated person, so you might be a person with low work performance. So that again will help that will really trouble you with that, right? And so being self motivated is more important. Next, achievement drive should be there. You need to achieve your targets, you need to achieve your self goals, right? Achievement drive should be there. And your commitment to any particular work, you should be committed enough to execute them. So all these are very important. And also you should have this kind of initiativeness. So you have to take this initiative to start a good work, to start a new innovative work. And also having this optimism is very important. You have to be optimistic, you have to see brighter opportunities that are coming ahead, and you can see some good things that might happen in your life. Having that optimistic nature is also very important. Next, number 4, empathy, which we've been discussing. So we have to be service-oriented person. So service orientation is also important. Next, developing others, helping others, bridging others, trying to sit with them is more important. Next, political awareness is also more important. You have to be aware of the power, that you need to, under which you are really working with, so that you can understand your work rules. And also, so one other key skill is to have social skill. So what is this social skill? These social skills are very important. To be able to get influence and to be able to influence others. You have to be influenced, or you are you influenced, or are you influencing others? So both should happen. You should be influenced by good things. Also, you should influence others in a good way. So that's also important. Next, communication. It is a very important aspect. Many times what happens is proper communication is not there in many companies, where you do not tell them and then you cannot blame them for not being able to do it. So effective communication demands effective transferring of information. Next, leadership is also very important. You have to guide and monitor your fellow people. Okay, and also change catalyst. You have to, different changes happen in work performance. So you have to take the change, to accept changes in a positive way, and you have to adjust and adhere to it. And also you should know how to manage your conflict. You should have this conflict management skill also, to be able to resolve issues and other problems, and then definitely you can do well. Right. So I request all of you to pay attention, especially the graduates, engineering graduates who are going to be placed in different companies, to pay attention to all the things, the key skills that we've discussed, and what are some key issues, important elements, important components of emotional intelligence. So if you have this, emotional intelligence, this will definitely help you, or this will lead to this kind of professional balance. So hope you are a person with good emotional intelligence by getting success, and in a way that leads to professional balance. So what happens is sometimes, many times, what we do is like we try to see that we are good subject experts, and we gain so much of subject efficiency. Like we try to be efficient workers. No doubt, you need to be an efficient worker, definitely, but also you have to make sure you have these social skills, because they go hand in hand. You trust me, if you are a perfect manager, or if you are a perfect employee, it's that will be counted for your overall growth. And if you're a perfect employee, then what is that you supposed to have? Your work balance, at the same time subject balance should be there. Your performance efficiency should be there. At the same time, you should also be good at these social skills. You should be an influencer. You should be able to motivate others. You should affect others in different ways. So how do you influence others? By your work performance, by your behavior. You should set a good model to your upcoming employees. So if you in a way, if maybe you're a novice employee now, but after some time you will definitely become a senior employee. So you have to set standards. Okay, you have to set standards so that the other new upcoming employees will definitely learn from you. And so one more important thing that many people or employees disregard is disregard one particular element. What is that? It is communication. They do not communicate properly. Sometimes, see, in a hierarchy, the message starts from the first senior person, and then it travels to subordinates, and then subordinates, and low level work executors, and the message should pass through different phases. So in that condition, you have to make sure that message is reached till the last person. And for example, sometimes we convey our information, we pass on the information, and we not making sure whether this information is this information reached the last person. Not making sure of that, we say that they are not responding to us. Are we clear with what we have done? Are we sure that the information is the information whether it has reached the person that should reach, or the last person or not? We have to ensure this kind of communication, and so that that will really help us understand our work challenges further. And sometimes what you do is, like when we become leaders, we try to follow some rules and ethics. So that will be a minus point if you are going to work in a company. So as a soft skill trainer or soft skills trainers, we tell students to be aware of these leadership skills. You have to make others, everyone. For example, in a group there are 10 people, right? So we have to make sure you interact with each and everyone. Not only that you are interacting with only one person, or you just talk to one person and pass on the information or responsibility, and you say that this should be passed on to others. Yes, you can pass on the information, but you should also communicate, sit with them, understand their problems, and then respond to them, talk to them, coordinate with them, support them, and then facilitate them in their respective work. So in that case, you will be able to definitely able to win your goals that you really set, right? So that's more important. Leadership is something that is a kind of good guideship. You are guiding a person in a good way, in a good path. You should set a example, and then you have to be a good leader. So social skills are nothing but having good influence, getting influence, or influencing others, good possessing good communication skills, having leadership responsibilities, and being a change catalyst. We should change whenever it is required. You should change whenever it is needed. You should change whenever some changes are needed. You cannot be a rigid person. You say, no, I cannot simply reject the change because I'm used to very much comfortable positions. No, you cannot say that. You have times you have to change. At times you have to move into different positions, and you have to make sure that you are accepting changes for the overall growth and success of any company. And so conflict management, you have to make sure you may bring peace between different bodies. You cannot say, no, it's not my cup of tea and I cannot do it. Yes, maybe you may not have the power to resolve that. You can direct the person to the person who has power to resolve it, but you can guide them. You can lead them. You can suggest them. Just because you do not have you do not have a proper power to execute them, you have to sit, you have to guide them. You cannot simply say, I don't have any power to monitor them. You have to say that you can definitely help them, listen to them. Even if you do not have the power to execute and resolve it, listen to them and say that, yes, these are my suggestions, you can definitely follow these things. Or you can go to that person, and that will be of good help. You guide, you talk to them, you respond to them. Instead, do not say, that's not my cup of tea and you don't have to speak to me. That is very rude behavior. So that means if you have that kind of tendency, then that means you do not have good social skills. Even if you are a great intelligent work subject expert. So with all these key aspects, I discuss that these are very powerful, and I say that these are very essential. So, with all these strategies and tips and keys for success, or for reaching your goals and targets, um, you know, definitely this will be of great use for reaching your targets. One needs to pay attention to all these things. So, with all these strategies and keys, discussing all these things in the session, I would end with a happy note saying that be a person of good character, and that will definitely will achieve success for you. So what is that? The title is like, having this kind of emotional intelligence will pave way, or the route. It will show you the route to personal success, or personal work balance, or professional work balance, and educational or academic or professional work balance. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.